Today we continue our journey through the letter to James. We're looking at how our words can affect people. Have you ever been terribly hurt by someone else's words? What words would you use to describe that feeling? How can I become more aware of the impact of my words on people? What does our reading from James 3 tell us that an unchecked tongue is like? It gives us a lot of words, a lot of description. Let us remember how quickly the harsh and cruel words slip out sometimes. And they can hit so hard, can't they? With the speaker scarcely giving a thought to the damage he or she is doing until it's too late. You might as well have been hit over the head with a cricket bat or run over by a bus. And so often it's our best friends or our families or our fellow believers who are slammed the hardest with our words. Now we have a spiritual obligation to think through the impact of our words that we say. If we don't, or if we simply don't care, we can inflict great harm. If anyone considers himself religious and yet does not keep a tight rein on his tongue, his religion is worthless, we're told in James 1. And I'm going to read this to you from Proverbs, and I'm reading it from the Message version. The right word at the right time is like a custom-made piece of jewellery, and a wise friend's timely reprimand is like a gold ring slipped on your finger. Reliable friends who do what they say are like cool drinks in sweltering heat. Refreshing. Like billowing clouds that bring no rain is the person who talks big but never produces. Patient, persistent pierces through indifference. Gentle speech breaks down rigid defences. When you're given a box of chocolate, don't gulp it all down. Eat too much chocolate and you'll make yourself sick. I know all about that. And when you find a friend, don't outwear your welcome. Show up at all hours, and he'll soon get fed up. Anyone who tells lies against the neighbours in court or on the street is a loose cannon. As I said earlier, our religion is worthless, James tells us, if we do not consider the impact of our words. Ask the Lord Jesus to help you think before you speak. I recently came across this slide and I thought it's very good. Just read it and take in the words. One of the other things that I was told many, many years ago as a child was, please engage brain before putting mouth into gear. It's almost saying the same thing, isn't it? Now, one of the first things a doctor says when he examines a patient is, let me see your tongue. It's often possible to make a diagnosis just by looking inside a person's mouth. Ugh. Some diseases can be detected by the tongue's appearance. It's even more true as a test of our spiritual health. A person's speech reveals what is going on inside. Jesus said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And in Matthew 12 we hear this warning. You brood of vipers, how can you who are evil say anything good? For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Now, as a born and bred Yorkshireman, we are often known for speaking our minds, often in a blunt and honest way. So for me, I've had to learn how to curb this natural tendency. I've had to learn how to control my tongue. It's been interesting this week, hasn't it? To see in the media that people in the public eye have chosen to speak out, to speak what they personally feel. As a minister and someone in the public eye, I'm very aware that I need to monitor what I say, as I'm often seen as the representative of the church. In the same way, each of us needs to be aware that as Christians, we can be seen as speaking or representing the church. And our speech tells much about us. Our accent indicates the country or the region from which we came. I've been accused of being from Birmingham. Part of my mixed accent is because I started life in Yorkshire, moved to Lancashire, moved to Derbyshire, and then moved to Leicestershire. So I have a very mixed accent. Our words reveal education or refinement or the lack of it. Our topics of discussion when we're meeting with people point to our chief interests in life. But we talk about the things that we love the most. So I have to ask you, what do you talk about? And our conversation reveals our eternal destination. For travellers to heaven, we will speak about the language of glory, while travellers to hell will speak the language of the pit, we're told in the Bible. The Apostle Peter, on the night that Jesus was arrested, made the mistake of opening his mouth, didn't he? When he spoke, some of the bystanders recognised his dialect and said, "Surely you also are one of them, for your speech betrays you." And although he tried to deny their accusation, his speech revealed who he really was. Now James warns us about the dangers of the tongue when he writes, "The tongue is a little member, and boasts great things. See how great a forest a little fire kindles. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. The tongue is so set among our members that it defiles the whole body, and sets on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire by hell." That's from our reading. Or as it reads in the Message version, and I'm going to put it on screen. "A word out of your mouth may seem of no account, but it can accomplish nearly anything, or destroy it. It only takes a spark. Remember to set off a forest fire. A careless or wrongly placed word out of your mouth can do that. By our speech we can ruin the world, turn harmony to chaos, throw mud on a reputation, send the whole world up in smoke and go up in smoke with it, smoke right from the pit of hell." Harsh words, aren't they? Things we need to remember. Now a story for you that reminds us to be careful what we're saying. Did you hear the one about the old man who suffered serious hearing problems for over a decade before finally going to a specialist? As it turned out, he was a perfect candidate for hearing aids. He was tested, fitted with the devices, and restored to practically perfect hearing. When he returned to the clinic for a checkup 6 months later, his doctor asked him, "Is your family excited about the marvellous improvement in your ability to hear?" "Oh, I haven't told them about it," he replied. "I just sit around and listen to their conversations. I've changed my will 3 times so far." Bit humorous, but we need to be careful what we're saying, don't we? We may not mean harm when we fire back at someone with a witty retort, but how many times have we regretted statements made in haste? How often are friendships bruised and loved ones offended by a single idle word? As a child growing up, my mother always impressed upon me the importance of saying kind things about others, like Thumper's mother in the movie Bambi. And I'm going to play that for you now.